in spiritual enlightenment, or in New Thought terms, the Christ mind. You've heard the perspective of several speakers throughout the series. I kicked it off with the first four powers: faith, strength, wisdom, and love, followed by Reverend Denise Schubert speaking on our faculty of power. Then I returned to explore with you imagination, understanding, will, and order. 2 weeks ago, Reverend Charlie, I love saying that, spoke on renunciation, and last week, Reverend Linda followed with the power of zeal. Today, we end the series with the amazing power of life. You'll find in your bulletin an insert listing all 12 powers. And after each one of them, I've given you an affirmation that you could use, if you choose, to claim the power that would be most needed in order for you to respond creatively to some situation, life problem, dream. All right, so think about that. Those affirmations might be helpful to you. You know, I love the study of the 12 powers. So often people have asked, well, what do you mean by spirituality? They ask, you talk about transformation, but what is transformation? And furthermore, how do I do it? How do I transform my life? Well, for many years now, I have seen the 12 powers as a sort of roadmap for this journey. One of the greatest strengths of New Thought philosophy is that it is both deeply spiritual and very practical. I believe spirituality ought to make our lives better, our way of living more fearless, satisfying, and productive, our relationships more loving. I always think, well, if being spiritual doesn't change my life, why do I care? Right? Charles Fillmore was known for saying, the truth you know is the truth you use. When I'm going through a difficult time, when I'm not showing up as the person I want to be, I can look to the 12 powers and ask myself which of them is seeking higher expression at that moment. What is the growing edge that life is offering me in this situation? And really, isn't it spiritual and emotional growth that is the point of the whole thing? My absolute favorite line from any movie, you probably hear me say that 25 times, but anyway, right now this is it. It was spoken by Red in The Shawshank Redemption when he tells his fellow inmate to either get busy living or get busy dying. Every living thing is always doing one or the other, isn't it? Do you realize that no matter what is going on for you or in your life right now, no matter what conditions you or I may be experiencing, we are at choice. At every crossroad, greater life is available as an option. Wonderful, powerful, creative life. Every breath we take is a demonstration of the power that conceived, birthed, sustains, and supports each and every one of us. And every moment spent celebrating and appreciating the incredible gift of life, no matter what is going on, is a joyous and creative moment. Sounds great, doesn't it? Except that a lot of the time we're not even present to the great beauty and power of life. A lot of times we're so preoccupied, so locked up in the story our restless minds are constantly telling, so focused on our fears and preferences, we don't even see what's right in front of us. It's almost like we've written this script for our lives and are so obsessed with it, We've decided that we can and will only feel good when that script is played out to our satisfaction. We know what life ought to be like, right? What people ought to do, what we deserve, and nothing else is acceptable. Fillmore taught that the power of life must be interwoven with the power of renunciation, or letting go. This story, I'm sure a familiar one to many of you, is a perfect illustration of that principle. The indigenous peoples of the rainforest know that all they have to do to capture a monkey to cook for their dinner is to set out a small bowl of rice and fasten that bowl to the ground, then hide in the underbrush and wait. Monkeys are drawn to the sweet smell of the rice. They dip their human-like hands into the bowl and soon discover something very upsetting. They cannot withdraw their hand from the bowl while they have a fistful of rice. Some of the monkeys, hearing the natives moving out of their hiding places, immediately let go of the rice, withdraw their hand from the bowl, and run off. These monkeys nearly always escape. But other monkeys refuse to open their fists and let go of the rice. Instead of having dinner, they become dinner. How many of us are like monkeys with closed fists? We want rice. We deserve rice, and by God, we're not letting go until we get rice. And furthermore, we know that rice is the only thing that will make us happy. And we're so obsessively focused on rice that we can't see the bigger picture at all. We exhaust ourselves in the race for rice. And so myopic, we miss a whole lot of other possibilities that are standing right next to us. Here's what Rumi has to say about preferences. Who makes these choices? I shoot an arrow right, it lands left. I ride after a deer and find myself chased by a hog. I plot to get what I want and end up in prison. I dig pits to trap others and fall in myself. I should be suspicious of what I want. Wouldn't it be great to live peacefully with life's ups and downs? Wouldn't it be wonderful to ride life the way we float on a wave in the ocean? Existence is so paradoxical. We come from spirit, we're made of spirit, then we take on a physical form and come into a material world. We spend our life setting goals, gaining and losing success and material things, until we determine usually by, I won't say always, but usually by painful trial and error, that no achievement or possession will ever totally satisfy us. They can't, because our essence is spirit, and our souls will never be peaceful until we understand this, until we learn to dream of becoming more rather than having more. Not an easy shift for most of us. Might even seem like the very opposite of the American way of life. But you know, the turn from a focus on having to a focus on becoming is magical. The moment we shift into this gear, pieces seem to fall into place, and a surge of life energy makes it clear that we have somehow stumbled our way onto the truth. Even so, there can be times when our life force feels as though it is waning. Many of us have had moments when we felt alone and depleted of energy, and life feels really hard at times like that. Yet when I think about it, Even those painful times come with a blessing, because these are the times that can literally drive us to our knees. Strategies, easy answers, even our religious teachings fail us. And as heretical as this may sound, that can be a very positive thing. Because what's left is only our yearning for spirit. When we're all out of answers, out of energy, out of patience, and low on hope, we feel vulnerable. And it is this vulnerability that creates a crack in the armor of our self-sufficiency, our self-righteousness, and the illusion that we are someday going to figure the whole thing out. In those moments, we long only to reconnect with our power source. In this place, in this frame of mind, we stand on the brink of a miraculous awakening. Again from Rumi. Love it. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. We travel back and forth across the doorsill where two worlds meet. The door is wide and open. Don't go back to sleep. The truth is that the life force we so desperately need is unlimited. It is present and available all the time. All we need to do is open up to it. Ask for it. Allow it. Let go of the fistful of rice we're so desperately clinging to. And the moment we do, life surges forth, bringing healing and light and energy to every cell in our bodies, every thought in our minds, every emotion in our hearts. Fillmore tells us that the key to developing our faculty of life is praise. Not a word we hear a whole lot in Unity these days, an old-fashioned word maybe. But praise is a state of consciousness in which we are awake and present to abundance and beauty. It is a gift of grace, but we can cultivate it. And to me, the first thing I need to do is push the pause button. Something we all have to use our faculty of will to do. Stop. Open your eyes. Look around. Notice. Beauty is everywhere, waiting for us to drink it in. To look deeply into the eyes of someone we love. To watch the sky and the clouds as we did all through the West. To smile at the laughter of children. To appreciate the miraculous complexity and efficiency of our bodies, no matter what is bugging us about it at the moment. To feel the joy of being in service and really take in the gratitude that's offered in return. To savor the satisfaction of meaningful work. Life is offering itself to us every moment of every day. I've noticed a fascinating phenomenon. When I'm here doing church on Sundays, I don't notice my aches and pains. I bet you can identify. We all have irritants in our lives. Sometimes we even have perplexing and upsetting problems to deal with. Yet, when we're enjoying an evening with good friends, engaged in creative work, even watching an excellent film, we don't feel as though we do. It seems that happiness, excuse me, I'm a little hoarse. It seems that happiness is more powerful than problems or pain. It seems that happiness attracts and enhances life energy. So how about this for a prescription if you can swallow it? Do what makes you happy. It's okay. It's more than okay. It's what you're here for. So what does make you happy? When do you lose track of time? What makes you forget about your problems, about the past, about the future? What engages your body, mind, and spirit so fully that the only thing that exists for you is the present moment? I would suggest to you this morning that this, whatever it might be, big, small, in between, is your purpose in life. Perhaps if we understood this, we would give ourselves permission to prioritize those things that we love, that make us happy, that bring us life and light us up, and let the other stuff go. Follow your bliss. It's become a cliche, I think. Mary Morrissey says, follow the energy. Follow that which gives you life energy. Let go of that which drains it. Because when we are filled with life energy, we are available. I'll give you a very recent example. On the way out west several weeks ago, Sepp and I stopped to see my sister Nancy. We found her in the emergency room, terribly sick, frightened, and discouraged. Surrounded by family and medical professionals, she was admitted to the hospital for treatment. After a day or so, Sepp and I left Greensboro and headed for Albuquerque, where the family was gathering to celebrate my grandson's graduation. Sepp will remember, for the first few hours in the car, my thoughts were dark. I was worried and a bit guilty for going forward with our trip while my sister was suffering, even though I knew there was little I could do to help at that point. I felt drained and exhausted, as though I had taken on my sister's trauma. But as the days passed, days filled with companionship and celebration, love and laughter, and a huge, huge, generous portion of natural beauty in the mountains of Colorado, life energy surged, not only in my body, but in my heart, mind, and spirit. So we stopped to see Nancy again on the way home. By then, the immediate crisis had passed, but she was struggling with the reality that if she wants to live, it will be through dialysis in the hospital every other day, 5 hours at a crack. I could sense that this was my moment to serve, and I was renewed and filled and ready. Nancy was reaching out, not just to her sister, but to her minister. Forgive me, One who knows and understands her well. One who loves her dearly. Seems that many people have offered her compassion and empathy and encouragement and even sympathy. And all of these well-meant gifts had only made her more depressed. She really wanted to be able to discuss what she saw as her live-die decision. What have I got to live for, she asked. No one needs me anymore. The kids are grown and gone. The church has moved on without me. Few people even call anymore. Well, this time, I was able to maintain the boundary between Nancy and me. What this means is that I could honor her dilemma and listen in the heart without taking on her pain. I was filled with life energy and able to be completely present. I felt so guided at that time. It's like the words and the insights just were streaming through me. And I asked her, "Aren't you a Unity chaplain, Nancy? Who's been calling your people while you've been so sick?" Oh, I handed my list over to another chaplain. They're taken care of. Oh, I asked, do you think that other chaplain is giving your people what you would give them? She paused for quite a long time, and she said, maybe not. I have developed a strong bond with my folks, and they often tell me what a big difference I make for them. I'm telling you, folks, almost miraculously, I watched Nancy's energy begin to rise. I looked her straight in the eye and I said, what's keeping you from calling those folks right now? Or even while you're in the hospital having a treatment? Why would you wait for people to reach out to you? Reach out to them. Give your gifts. Serve. I know you, Nancy, and that's what gives you life. Well, I saw the light return to my sister's eyes. I saw her coming back online. I left there with a heart full of gratitude, knowing I had made a difference and vowing to stay in close touch, not feeling responsible, just joyful. And I saw how important it is, this cliche that we hear, that we've got to put on our own oxygen mask first. And that knowing and living our purpose is what fills us all with life energy. So many people have told me they don't know their purpose. But what if it's far simpler than you think? What if all we have to do is give ourselves permission to follow the energy of happiness? What if life purpose has little to do with what we know or what skills we have, and much more to do with how we feel on the inside and the energy that's emanating from us? What if prioritizing our own happiness is not selfish, but rather a responsibility and the gift we came to this planet to give? So I ask again, when have you lost track of time? Forgotten your aches and pains and moods and grudges and problems? Whatever you were doing then, do more of it. See, the thing is, we can't figure out what makes us happy. We can't think our way into life. We've got to live our way into it. Who knows who you'll meet on that shooting range? Who knows who you'll meet at Martha's Mission, or here at church, or in that yoga class, or on that job, or during treatment? Who knows what conversations will arise? Who knows what hungry heart you will feed? The secret is this: when we show up happy and filled with life, ready and willing to serve, we are living on purpose, and we will be used for good. Sometimes we don't even see the difference we've made. And I think, oh, well, that's God's business anyway. And so starting today, let's practice savoring and celebrating life. Let's leave this place with our eyes open and our hearts awake to the lavish, amazing beauty that is right in front of our faces. When we cross that Emerald Isle Bridge coming back at sundown from Colorado, I turned to Sepp and I said, okay, but have you ever seen anything more beautiful than that? And he said, no, I don't think so. It's right here. Problems, pain, mistakes, failure, so what? As my mother would say, poo. In reality, they are nothing. And you know how I can tell? Because when you look into your lover's eyes or walk through a garden and smell the scent, they are instantly gone. You can't see them, you can't feel them. The moment you look beyond them, they disappear. So look closely at the world around you. Look deeply at yourself. Pause and breathe. Quit talking for a little while. Give yourself some solitude and some space and quiet time, and stay there until your eye clears and the fog lifts. Stay until you have had your fill and you know what's really important to you, until your priorities, and I'm not talking about anyone else's, even if it's the persons you live with, till your priorities become clear. Stay until you can promise yourself that you will go where love and happiness lead you, because this is the way of your life purpose. This is the creative path, and this is where you will do the most good. Your life purpose is the masterpiece you came here to create, and it's totally unique. If it's you who needs to show up, don't bother sending a substitute. So who was serving whom in my visit with Nancy? Truth is, we were both invigorated, inspired, and grateful by the end of our time together. And finally, once more from Rumi. It reminds me of that moment with her. I was dead, then alive. Weeping, then laughing. The power of love came into me, and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star. Then new events came and scared me, and I wanted to run, but something said to me, don't move. A sublime generosity is coming toward you. Life said, stay with me, and I said, I will, and became a sparkling fountain basking in the sun's light. And so it is. God bless you all.